Devil Hunters Chainsaw Man Chapter 142 titled Denji Fan Club brings up Denji's battle with the Gun Fiend. Is Fumiko someone we can actually trust? And the showdown between Denji and the hybrids is right around the corner. So let's take it to the top as we see Nayata playing at an amusement park with Denji and Fumiko watching nearby. Fumiko comments on Denji's decision of rejecting the Chainsaw Man Church, which depressingly admits he will do whatever Yoshida says and not transform into Chainsaw Man again. Fumiko jokes that being Chainsaw Man would have granted him opportunities that a normal person couldn't dream of, but Denji responds that it's not all sunshine and rainbows, which when we can look at all the instances of being Chainsaw Man was really cool in part 1, he equally had just as many horrible if not severe moments being Chainsaw Man as well. Oddly enough, this is where Fumiko brings up that she would rather die than get watched in the bathroom like Chainsaw Man, and now this is kind of disturbing because Fumiko indirectly confirmed that public safety has been spying on Denji even in the bathroom. As Denji said, and I'm not gonna say it out loud, but you know, he beats his feet in the bathroom. Public safety is just totally content with this because this is where Denji calls Fumiko a stalker, which she says is somewhat justified because she's a fan. Though this only seems to remind Denji of all of his past romantic interests having ulterior and murderous motives, which sounds pretty obvious. Unfortunately, when you go all the way back from part 1 to Himeno, to Reze, to Kobeni, Power, all of the women in Denji's life had tried to murder this man at some point. But this is where Fumiko's expression breaks as she explains that she does resent him for not being able to save her parents. It is revealed that Fumiko's family lived in the same town that his fight against the Gun Fiend took place in, and that their house was destroyed in the conflict, the rubble crushing both of her parents. Despite her pleas, the revving of chainsaws drowned them out, resulting in her parents passing away. But alas, she tells Denji not to worry about it because that was the moment when she didn't see Chainsaw Man as a superhero. As a matter of fact, when she saw Chainsaw Man turn back into human, she was witnessing the entire events unfold between Denji and Aki's battle, and spots that he was crying, adding that for the first time in her life, that the person who's been known as the hero of hell and who has been saving everyone's life is just in fact a kid, which then led to her deciding to dedicate her life towards helping Denji, not Chainsaw Man, saying she's a fan of him. We have a lot to unravel right here. First and foremost, we have Denji and the recollection of his battle with the Gun Fiend, aka Aki. Is it really so much a coincidence that on September 12th, today, is ironically the same day that the Gun Fiend also attacked Denji in Power, and it just so happens to be that Fumiko's parents were there. Now, is Fujimoto hinting at something, or is this just some type of coincidental Easter egg that he wanted the hardcore fans to know? Some people might speculate, going off of this, that we might see Aki again. Some people might speculate we might see the Gun Fiend again, and it could be someone completely different. I don't know. If you were to ask me, I don't want to rule out Aki, but I also believe it would ruin his character. His arc is complete. What if this is somewhat alluding to the Gun Fiend somehow returning? I'm not saying Aki necessarily, but the Gun Fiend in and of itself perhaps turning into a hybrid slash weapons devil. We don't really know what are the prerequisites of being a weapons devil, right? Like, why is the Katana Man, why is the Bomb Girl weapons near Nyan immortal, but not something like the Gun Fiend? So could we see a potential weapons devil in the form of a gun hybrid? Now moving on to Fumiko. Fumiko's introduction was a bit rough for many people within the fandom. I myself included thought this is another flavor of the week girl that's gonna come interrupt Denji's life, bring havoc, and then she's gonna be out of the picture, but it looks like she's here to stay. So if this is the beginning of Fumiko growing as a character and her genuinely telling Denji that I'm a fan of Denji, right? Could this be the spark of a relationship between Denji and Fumiko? I didn't even really think about it like that, but Denji being acknowledged, not Chainsaw Man, but Denji, the guy who's traumatized and the guy who wants nothing but love and affection and care. Like, Denji's hurting a lot in part 2. He's been in his absolute low right now. I think the only thing keeping him afloat is, of course, a love and attention he can give to Nayata, but if that last piece is gone, who knows what's gonna happen. And unfortunately, the loss of Nayata seems very possible as well. Denji tries to take this all in, but he's interrupted by the arrival of Barum, who on the contrary says he's a fan of Chainsaw Man. Sitting beside Denji, he knows that he knows Fumiko's with public safety and that he's impressed with how thorough they are in terms of security. He states that he has a fan request of seeing Chainsaw Man fight again, likely due to how he's able to keep on fighting regardless of what enemies thrown at him. He then states a hunch that there's going to be a double attack on the building's first floor. and that if he had to guess, the folks down there will soon be shouting, "Save us, Chainsaw Man," where it's revealed that Mary, the whip hybrid, and the spear hybrid are there. With only one of them looking serious, mind you, it seemed like the Swordman and the whip hybrid, and I think the whip hybrid being more of a comedic weapons devil in all this is, hey, I'm about it. So if we can get some more diverse personalities in Chainsaw Man Part 2 and you want to make the whip hybrid be one of the more, well, I don't know, eclectic characters, so to speak, then sign me up. But here we see Barum once again alluding to how much he loves Chainsaw Man and that Chainsaw Man is what him and the other hybrids want to give thanks to for freeing them out of the mind control that they were in due to Makima and Chainsaw Man Part 1. So public safety doesn't want Denji to become Chainsaw Man for some apparent reason, but Fami, who's running the Chainsaw Man church with the fake Chainsaw Man, and Haruka, or you know, Haruka's the face, underneath them is the weapons devils, and they want Denji to become Chainsaw Man for some apparent reason. So does that also mean Fami wants Denji to turn into Chainsaw Man? Because she told Asa Chainsaw Man needs a break from everyone attacking, so that's why she's becoming the new public figure within the Chainsaw Man church. But Yoru is doing all this to somehow spark Black Chainsaw Man to appear so that she can become 100% and grab the nuclear weapons devil and anything else she has to do. So there's so many conflicting things happening with Denji becoming and not becoming Chainsaw Man at the same time. But it seems like what it's going to accumulate to anyway is that the hybrids is going to attack this food court. People will be asking for Chainsaw Man, or maybe Asa or Yoru comes instead. But regardless, I don't think Denji's just going to stand around if there's no one that's going to be helping. So there's no other choice but for Denji to save the civilians because no one else can. But we also saw Nayata in the beginning of this chapter, which means she could also be in danger. And would the hybrids devil, if Denji is reluctant to turn into Chainsaw Man, do something to her to spark Denji to turn into Chainsaw Man? Regardless, Fumiko is there as well, so no matter how you spin it, we have Fumiko, we have Denji, we have Nayata up against or the weapons hybrids. With Swordman being on the fence about the whole thing, so he'll either betray the weapons or he'll die trying to save Denji at some point. And interestingly enough, I made a poll yesterday asking the community, was Reze going to return in Chainsaw Man Chapter 142? With the majority saying yes, she would return, and unfortunately, she's not here. Now, some people are saying I'm on copium, that Reze's not going to return. My thing is, I am not going to discount the last remaining hybrids to not be here because they didn't show up in this chapter, and maybe they won't even show up in the next 2 to 3 chapters. But there's no way Fujimoto would introduce the concept of the weapons slash hybrids again and bring character development for granted 4 out of the 7 hybrids that we know nothing about. Maybe give them just time to shine before we see our beloved Quan Chi, Reze, and Katana Man. And if Fujimoto was cooking up something here with September 12th of today's actual date and September 12th in the narrative, could there be some type of emergence with the Gun Fiend, Gun Devil? But we'll talk more about this in the live discussion later on today. So if you want to see that, you're going to want to click on this video right here.